Good morning. Praise be to the Most High God, first and foremost. Asking the Most High to lead me to say and to speak His will, not mine. There are two subjects that I feel the need to speak about. The first one is the soul. There are some people walking upon earth that have no souls. You have those with souls and you have those without souls. Those without souls have the tendency to gravitate towards people with souls. And the reason is, when you have an empty vessel walking upon earth, they are unable to create on their own. So therefore they need to be around a person with a soul to somewhat absorb energy from the soul bearer. Those without a soul will somewhat imitate those with a soul. Those without a soul have the tendency to have the need to be around people all of the time. And when they're not around people, they sometimes suffer depression. So they have a constant need to reach out to people or to go from person to person to person, grabbing energy or a piece of their soul. That is how they survive. They have shifts in personality because as they're gathering parts of other people's souls, they start to emulate the people that they're gathering energy from. So you might see a quick shift in energy. Feel it. You can feel it. I can feel it because I'm an empath. Those without souls are not empaths. They're the opposite. If an empath comes upon a person without a soul, we cannot feel anything but darkness. It's like the strangest feeling of emptiness, as opposed to when we come upon a person with the soul, we can feel their emotions. We can feel, I can feel their energy. But when there is a soulless person, there's nothing but darkness, emptiness, despair. And a person with a soul, yes, can influence a soulless person by giving them a piece of their soul. But a soulless person cannot create on their own. Therefore, they watch those with souls with an attempt to emulate the persons with souls. And I know it sounds strange, or even a bit odd to think that a human flesh is born into being without a soul, but it happens. And there are lots of them. Another thing with people that have no souls, they have this constant need to be around crowds of people. And the reason is that's because they're grabbing a piece of soul from all these people, and that's what keeps them going. That's what keeps their energy levels up, because when there is no crowd, or there is no person, if there are other people with no soul around them, they're just an empty shell. And they need to have people with souls around them in order to keep getting that energy level, that energy high. That's why people with souls sometimes attract soulless people, people with no souls, because the people with no souls seek to have a piece of the soul that the person with the soul has. That's the only way they can keep going. That's the only way they're able to somewhat exist in a normal sense. And that's the only way that they can create, by getting a piece of the person with the soul's energy, by emulating their creativity or copying their creativity. It's not something that they're able to do on their own. They're not able to create from nothing. They do not have the ability to create from nothing because they don't have a soul. So the best thing that they can do to really flow with this earthly journey is to absorb energy, or to emulate, or to copy those who have a soul. Now, this is not something that is new, that has been discovered. It has been from the beginning of time. Not everyone is granted a soul. So if you see those pulling your energy, especially empaths, soulless people tend to pull on your energy. And empaths are opposite. They don't need to have a lot of people around them, and they tend to withdraw off to themselves. Now, a person without a soul can try to emulate an empath, but that need to have a piece of somebody else's soul is like, oh, I gotta have you, you gotta be around me. It's because they need the energy of a person with a soul. When you see a person that is happy, independent, or seem to be okay with or without a partner, that's usually a person with a soul. Whereas a person, or a soulless person, or a person without a soul, is just like, I gotta have this person around me. I gotta have them around me. They gotta be, and they gotta constantly pull energy. And the thing about the people without souls, they use sex a lot in order to absorb energy. And it's like an addiction. When you see addictions like that, an empty soul needs that energy. And also, being, like I said before, they have the need to be around crowds. They have the need to have constant attention or constant approval from multiple people. It's extremely hard for them to not be around anyone. Whereas the empath pulls off by themselves, they enjoy being alone because too much energy disturbs their energy. And yes, we have dark, soulless people that walk the earth. So be aware of who is walking towards you. Are they coming towards you? Another soul person coming towards you to enhance your energy, or for you to come together to have creativity? Or is this a person without a soul merely coming to absorb your energy and to take a piece of your soul for their own survival? It becomes a selfish need of a person without a soul to get a piece of somebody else's soul, because that is the only way they can survive. That is the only way that they're able to create, because remember, they cannot create from nothing. They have to imitate. They have to take a piece of the person with the soul to even be able to create. So a lot of times you would see a person without a soul copying the looks of another person, or copying even the mannerism of another person. And each person they go around, that's why you'll see a quick shift in seemingly their personality, because for each person they go to, they want to emulate or copy a part of that person. And you can see a quick shift in their energy, or a quick shift in their personality. I mean, not over a time period, but I mean within minutes or seconds, you can see a shift. I just wanted to talk about that. I was led to talk about that. Now, there's another subject that I want to speak of, and I'm trying to get a grasp on it, because I try to understand how my energy works and how I'm able to pick up other people's energy. I have the ability, I can scroll up Facebook, and I could be scrolling up, for example, I was scrolling up Facebook one day and I got this horrible pain in my abdomen as I came upon this one profile. I mean, a horrible pain to the point I was bent over. I went to Messenger and I called this person. I had this need just to call, and finally they answered. I say, "Are you okay?" The person said, "I'm in the hospital right now. I'm in the emergency room." I say, "What's going on? Are you okay?" And they gave me their information. They said, "Right now I'm having terrible abdominal pains." I say, "I felt your pain. I felt your pain." And then I went on. I say, I know is privacy of what's going on with you, but does it have something to do with your blood? They said, I have anemia, what he said, sickle cell anemia. And I have bouts where I have terrible abdominal pains. So that kind of clarified what I was feeling. And so another time I was scrolling Facebook, and this profile only had a dot on their post, and something said stop. I said, this person's about to commit suicide. I went to the messenger and I called and called and called. It rang like a few times, then it cut off, then I called again. The person finally answered, and they had a very low, depressing sound. I said, what's going on? I went past your profile and I felt like this emptiness, as though you didn't want to be here anymore. The person said, I'm at the bottom. I don't know if I want to be here tomorrow. So I said, let me have your address, because I felt they were near within the city. And sure enough, they were. I said, I need your address. Give me your address. I got their address. So my younger son and I went to the address. And I knocked on the main door and no one answered. But then there was a door on the garage where I heard a little movement, so I banged on the door, and a person opens the door, and I could smell it. He reeked of alcohol. And then I kind of looked over his shoulder. This person was sleeping inside of a laundry room shed on the outside that was attached to the house. And he was in despair. And this thought that went through my head when my son, he was in the car and he was watching, I said, let's take him out to the Indian mounds. I said, do you mind going to the Indian mounds with us? He said, no. He climbed into the car, the back seat, as he was. I don't judge people, because you never know what a person has gone through or what they are going through. They could be on their very last leg. So we took this person out to the Indian mounds, out in nature, and began to walk with him. And the more we walked, the more sober this person became. So it's like before the end of the trail, before we got through the mounds, he was smiling, he was laughing, and if anyone has been, if you're an empath or you're a seer, you know, if you walk through the mounds, you can feel the spirits, you can see the natives. At least I do. I can feel them, I can see them. Like I saw a little girl with her mother it had to be from years and years, over 100 years ago, in the woods, and they smiled at me. But when we took him through there, by the time we got out of that trail, he was smiling, he was laughing. So maybe about once or twice a week, I and my son would pick this person up to do spiritual type work in healing in nature. Nature is healing in its own. If you take a person out of its element and take them into nature, nature has a tendency to heal. The sounds of the birds, the whistling of the wind, the beauty of the trees will hypnotize you and bring you out of whatever stupor you may be in. It's magical. It's God's playground and God's healing grounds. But those are the two things that I wanted to talk about and to mention. The one about there are soulless people walking among us, and there are people with souls. And I also wanted to hit on the abilities that people have to pick up other people's energy and feel their pain. Now, that is something that I'm not sure how or why I'm able to do it, but I do know that when I stay in high frequency or closest to the Most High, most connected with Source in the Most High God, that ability becomes stronger and stronger. That's why I keep God first and foremost, because I know the power of God and I know how He can use people for good. So that is a wonder that I have not yet figured out why some people are more in tune to things like that than others. I know for me, it's because I'm connected very strongly to Source and Most High God. And He gives me that ability to pick up on those that may be suffering or to feel others' pain, to empathize at a deep, deep level and to feel energy. But I'm still doing my own research about why I'm able to do certain things or to see certain things, feel certain things. And if you have that ability too, comment below. Let me know in a short writing of how you use your ability or how it comes about. I know there must be a community somewhere of people that have different abilities granted by God. I would love to get in touch with you and see how I can understand my abilities that I've had since a child. I don't know the proper names to put to certain things. I'm just now learning about things like the word chakras, about the power of crystals. See, I've always surrounded myself with what I call rocks. I never called them crystals. I never knew. I just know I felt better when I had rocks, these rocks near me. But a lot of things have always existed in my life. I just didn't have names to them or could define certain things by terms that are in the dictionary or terms that are used now. I just knew they happened and how I felt when certain things or certain people were around me, but I'm sure there's a name for everything now. But God bless. And I guess I'm still trying to see if there's another download for me to speak about, but I think that is it for now. Be blessed, colored roses and thorns.